Now, if you saw this video, you'll remember my past as a Grandmaster in the original Shadowverse and my goal of hitting the glorious heights of Diamond in Worlds Beyond. But things didn't go as planned. I flew too close to the sun and I crashed from Sapphire all the way back down to Emerald, the lowest division in the game. Honestly, I didn't even think it was possible to drop that low. But alas, I did not give up. Since then, I'd been fighting tooth and nail to claw my way back to the top with my beloved Forest and Havencraft. But it hasn't been easy. On day one of the new expansion, I spent all of my vials building Ward Havencraft, and I instantly regretted it. I just didn't enjoy the deck. I burned my resources on legendaries that I may never touch again. I tried so hard to climb with Stormhaven and Controlhaven instead, but I was seriously struggling, and I ended up dropping all the way to Topaz. I was out of vials, out of ideas, and I was without a real Forestcraft deck, which is my most successful class. It felt like I might actually go for the entire set without a deck to truly call my own. But then, a miracle from beyond the horizon. Tempo Forestcraft revealed itself. Now this deck is outrageous. It's a fast and relentless onslaught of fairy aggression. You hit hard and you hit fast, but it does take some adapting. There's no card draw. It doesn't even run delayed. You really have to manage your resources well and play tactically to succeed. But succeed I did. I finally did it after everything. I hit Diamond for the very first time in Worlds Beyond. And today I want to walk you through the games that got me there. But before we jump in, if this kind of climb resonates with you, I'd love it if you subscribed. It's still very early days for the channel and every bit of support helps. So let's get started with my last game in Sapphire. Yes, this is the game that got me promoted to Diamond. And we are against Abysscraft, which has seen a massive uptick in the new set. Both aggro and control versions of the deck are incredibly powerful. This class was giving me so much trouble trying to play Havencraft. It was actually deeply upsetting how often they just kill me by turn 6. And then if I wasn't dead by turn 6, I'd get a ward down and try to stabilize. They just throw Odin at me over and over again, laying waste to my wards and my health pool via the power of Norse mythology. What a bastard. Luckily for me, however, this time I was prepared. I was back with my brand new Forestcraft deck and I was ready to set things right. And I noticed early on that I have the potential to do a really naughty early play here. As I had Fae in my hand, I just needed to make sure I had 2 pixies ready going into turn 4 and some minions on the board, and I could hit them with a massive buff and really start pushing that early aggression. And lucky for me, the plan worked perfectly. I managed to stick 2 units to the board, get those pixies down, buff them up with Fae, and then use the 2 new pixies that came in to clean up his board and hit him in the face for 5. I did choose to leave the 2/2 behind rather than getting a full board wipe, just as it's important to get that early damage in, and I thought I would be rewarded for doing so. At this point I can smell blood in the water, and my opponent is forced to waste an evolve on a ghost just to clear my board. I take this opportunity to play Titania, which is going to allow me to generate a free fairy every turn. It's great value, and it's nice to get it down now while there's no pressure since there's nothing on his side of the board. My opponent responds by playing Sharon, an excellent legendary from the new set that allows him to build his board and also manages to clear my own by resurrecting Orpheus and utilizing her evolve effect. This really caught me off guard, as suddenly it felt like the game had flipped. My hand didn't feel that great. I had 2 more Titanias, which felt like a bit much, and I was a little bit concerned that my early pressure wasn't going to amount to anything. And so I decided now was the time to use my 0-cost bail to swing that tempo back in my direction, and luckily I also drew Lily, who is actually the only source of card draw in the entire deck, and given that I wasn't happy with my hand, it really couldn't have come at a better time. So with Lily's assistance, I managed to once again build my own board and wipe his out, and I also draw another Fae, which I'm thinking could be instrumental in closing the game out. Our opponent responds with Medusa, which is always a scary card to see, but as I have 4 minions, I do still get to stick 1 fairy on the board, and in this deck, every single minion that survives till the next turn is one we love to see. And so I mount my grand assault using the Elf Knight Cynthia and Fae to generate a massive board, while super evolving Cynthia to buff the fairies even further, remove that Medusa, and get even more chip damage in. And what a beautiful board that is. Absolutely glorious. And as soon as I saw the undead soldier come down, I thought, he cannot deal with this. He does not have the tools available. And he does surprise me a little bit, coming out with the Reaper's Death Wish super evolved tech to take out Cynthia. But it just is not enough, and I choose to respond by super evolving evolving my Fae and hitting him in the face for a grand total of 11 damage to put his foolish ambitions to rest. And that was the exact game that elevated me to Diamond for the first time. But we're not quite done here yet, for I have a fantastic game for you guys against a Portalcraft player that was also on my ascent to the Diamond Division, that showcases what I can only describe as the return of a powerful old friend. Now, I choose to go for a full mulligan here. Whether or not that was the right play, I don't know. I'm still trying to find my way around the mulligan for this deck. You know, with it being new, with me not playing it for very long, I don't know the ins and outs of what's a great starting hand, but I was pretty happy with the hand I ended up with. Water Fairy is, of course, the GOAT turn 1 player, and it's always nice to have a Bale in your starting hand. But playing against puppets as Forest can be really fucking annoying at times, since they have a bunch of 0 mana 1/1 removal minions, and my entire strategy is basically based around little tiny 1/1 dudes that they can really easily remove. But alas, we march onwards. I was forced to play Lily here as a regular 2-drop, which isn't ideal, but it's not the worst. A 1/3 is a pretty good stat line against some stuff, so it just is what it is. He responds with Viewed here, which is a really annoying on-curve play, because it's premium statted, free for free. It's just such an annoying thing to remove early on. And so I play my Cynthia to try and get a little bit more control over the board, even knowing that he will be able to trade that free into her and clear her, which is a bit annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But life goes on, and also at the end of the day, I will be getting my revenge on him very soon. For my turn, I actually choose to open by evolving Lily, which might seem a little odd at first, but I wasn't happy with the cards in my hand, and by doing so, I was able to get more damage onto face, but also managed to draw the key ingredient required for this turn. So the Water Fairy allowed me to play a big swing Fae turn and buff that board to another massive uncontrollable beast. But of course, against Portal, you aren't allowed nice things, you're not allowed a board. Quite frankly, it was quite silly of me to think I deserved one. How dare I enjoy the game by putting things down and hoping they'll actually stay for more than one turn. But of course, he responds with Alouette and brings out a copy of that stupid, shitty 5/3 spacecraft that is the bane to fairies worldwide. But what he didn't know was that I was formulating a devious plan, for I had the ingredients to finish this game once and for all. I decided to play my Roach with only a combo of 2, which seems a bit silly, like how much damage can that do? But with an Evolve, it's a nice little chunk of 4 to the face, and I can use my Bug Alert to aid in the removal of another unit and return it to my hand afterwards. Big brain stuff, I'm telling you, man. And at this point, after seeing the Roach, he knows he is probably in big trouble, and so he pulls another Alouette out and uses it to duplicate one of the ward artifacts to give him a bit of a defensive layer. Well, that won't save you, because there's actually still 2 courses remaining. And so I really rubbed my 2 overworked brain cells together to come up with the most possible damage with a Roach play on turn 6, which is quite hard to do, really, since you don't have much mana at all. Like, how are you meant to get much damage out of that? It's difficult. And my opponent no doubt sits there shaking as he sees these minions come down, thinking his time is over. But alas, when the Roach comes down and is super evolved, and it flies at his face with bloodlust in its eyes, only to leave him with 1 health. Well, that wasn't very good, was it? But don't worry, kids. I didn't fuck up. This was all taken into account, for the last card in my hand will mean his true despair. So long as he doesn't play 2 wards, of course. Please don't play 2 wards. I don't know if he can play 2 wards, but I don't want to see 2 wards. But alas, he is out of play points, and he has a grand total of 0 wards on the board. And although he's able to heal up to 4 health, that will not save him from the hands of the big lad. And here he comes, riding down from the heavens, wielding the mighty Zantetsuken and putting an end to this Portalcraft player's misery. Good night, goodbye, sayonara, see you never. And that is once again all from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed my redemption arc. I hope you all have a lovely day. Good night, and God bless.